Hey, welcome back to another ballistics gel test. Today we're going to be shooting Remington Corelokt 165 grain out of a 30-06. And the test rifle today is my Tikka T3X Super Light Stainless, chambered in 30-06, of course, with a 22.4-inch barrel and a Leupold VX3 HD on top. We'll be taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated to meet the FBI's ballistics testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo against each other. After the shots, we'll examine bullet expansion, weight retention, penetration, and velocity. My goal is to provide hunters like you and I with the most objective information possible to help us make the best choice for our particular hunting situation. The ballistics gel in this video has been sourced from Clear Ballistics. You can find a link in the description. So let's go ahead and shoot it. All right, I'm down here at the blocks after shooting those 165 grain Corelokts out of the 30-06, and unfortunately I did not capture the first bullet. It rode the block in here and then veered out and exited right here before it hit the second block, so it did a kind of a little curvy type situation in there, but we did capture the next two. And something to note, in this first block, there is a lot of fragmentation. There's a lot of little bits of lead and stuff in there. I'll zoom in and see if you can see it. Whole bunch of little chunks of lead and just jacket separation. But let's go ahead and take a look at the penetration. So we have the 2 bullets right there. You can see them better right here on the side view, but we'll come up top and look at penetration. They're almost exactly the same. We got one right at 23 inches and one at, we'll call it 23 1/4. And let's go ahead and take a look at the velocities for those 165 grain Corelokts out of the 30-06. The high was 26.24, the low was 26.09, and the average was 26.17. And here we're looking at that Remington Corelokt 165 grain load out of the 30-06. First, we'll talk about weight retention. We got a little bit low weight retention, 109.5 grain average. It was very consistent though. We saw 109 and 110 grains respectively, and unfortunately we did not recover the third bullet. Overall, that works out to 66% weight retention, so pretty low even compared to other Corelokt loads that we've tested. Next, we'll talk about expanded diameter. The average was 0.485 inches, again, very low. Respectively, we saw 0.494 and 0.476 inches, and overall that works out to only 1.6x expansion, so very, very low, and that's why I'm calling this particular test of this particular ammo an epic fail. I'm not quite going to call it a catastrophic fail. I mean, the bulk of the bullets are still there. You do still get penetration. It just didn't quite live up to what I thought it would, what is expected from Remington Corelokt. So this also could be a fluke. It could be a fluke. If I were to pick up a different box today off the shelf and try it, maybe we would see different results, but the box that I get off the shelf is the one that gets the test, and that might be the one that you happen to be hunting with. So it is what it is, and I report what I see in the test, and this was, in my estimation, basically an epic fail. Now we're going to talk about velocity. Our high velocity was 2,624 feet per second. Our low was 2,609 feet per second for an average of 2,617 feet per second, versus the build velocity of 2,800 feet per second. So this load did come in quite a bit slower. We were 183 feet per second slow. The spread at least was very tight. We only had a 15 foot per second spread, for whatever that's worth. Now we'll talk about penetration. We got pretty high penetration out of this stuff, and I think that's largely due to the very low expansion. There's just not a lot of resistance when a bullet doesn't expand, so it tends to penetrate deeper. The average was 23 1/10 inch, and respectively we saw 23 1/4 and 23 inches, and again we didn't recover that third bullet, so we did get pretty decent penetration. Final thoughts on that 165 grain Corelokt load out of the 30-06. 66% weight retention, that's pretty low even for Corelokt. 1.6x expansion, that's extremely low. And if you recall back to what the bullets looked like, the petals that expanded folded all the way back around the shank. Not very good performance. Also, velocity-wise, these were pretty darn slow as compared to factory spec. Penetration-wise, it did get it. It got just a hair over 23 inches, but I think that is largely due to the lack of expansion. Overall, I'm calling this an epic fail. Not quite catastrophic fail because the bullets held together at least and they did penetrate, but I'm going to call it an epic fail. And sure, it could have been a fluke. It definitely could be a fluke with this particular lot or box of ammo, or maybe even these particular 2 rounds. I doubt that. But that's what happened. That's what I'm reporting. This could have been the box of ammo I was hunting with. So it is what it is. Now, interestingly, I did also fire 180 grain Corelokt out of the 30-06 and 150s. That video is not up yet, but it will be soon. Check for it. It's probably up by the time you're watching this. And we didn't see those issues with either one of those 2 loads, so it definitely could be a fluke, but whatever it is, this particular test was an epic fail. Hey, if you enjoy these videos, check out my website, masonleather.com, and get yourself some leather gear handmade by me just for you. I've been handcrafting leather gear for hunters for over a decade, and I would love to make you something. The link is in the video description. And check out my channel for more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests.